A quiet, snow-covered highway, a dark, freezing night, and a young woman who vanished into thin air. The story of Maura Murray is one of the most perplexing unsolved mysteries in modern history. A case that has baffled investigators, haunted her family, and captivated true crime enthusiasts for nearly 2 decades. Tonight, we're diving deep into the events of that fateful February evening in 2004, exploring every detail, every theory, and every haunting question. What really happened to Maura Murray? To understand the mystery, we first need to understand Maura. Born on May 4, 1982, Maura grew up in Hanson, Massachusetts, in a close-knit family. She was the 4th of 5 children, known for her intelligence and athleticism. She excelled in school, earning a spot at West Point Military Academy before transferring to the University of Massachusetts Amherst to study nursing. The days before Maura vanished were marked by a series of puzzling actions. On February 5th, Maura worked her shift at a campus security desk, but something happened that night. A phone call left her visibly upset, and she reportedly broke down in tears. To this day, the nature of that call remains unknown. In the following days, Maura exhibited behavior that some have described as preparation to leave. She searched online for information about rental properties in New Hampshire and Vermont and looked up directions to the White Mountains. On February 9th, the day she disappeared, Maura emailed her professors and employer, claiming there had been a death in her family. A lie. She then withdrew $280, nearly all the money in her bank account, purchased alcohol, and packed up her belongings. Among her items were textbooks, clothes, and toiletries. Was this the behavior of someone planning a short getaway, or someone planning something more permanent? That evening, Maura drove north on Route 112, a winding road through the White Mountains. Around 7:25 p.m., her car swerved off the road and collided with a snowbank near Woodsville, New Hampshire. A passing motorist, Butch Atwood, stopped and offered help. Maura refused, saying she'd already called for roadside assistance. But this wasn't true. Phone records show no such call was made. When police arrived at 7:46 p.m., Maura was gone. Her car was locked, her belongings inside, including a box of wine that had spilled across the back seat. There were no signs of a struggle, no footprints leading away from the scene, and no witnesses who saw her leave. The search for Maura began quickly. Police dogs traced her scent about 100 yards from the car before losing it. This led some to believe she had been picked up by another vehicle. Helicopters, thermal imaging, and search parties scoured the area for days, but they found nothing. No clothing, no footprints, and no sign of Maura. Her father, Fred Murray, was adamant that Maura wouldn't have run away. He believed she had been abducted and pleaded with the public for information. Yet, as days turned into weeks, the trail grew colder. Over the years, countless theories have emerged about what happened to Maura. Some believe she ran away to start a new life. Others suggest she met with foul play, perhaps at the hands of a passerby. There's even a theory that Maura succumbed to the elements after wandering into the woods. Disoriented and cold, the internet has played a huge role in keeping this case alive. From armchair detectives to professional investigators, everyone seems to have a theory. But with every new clue comes another question. There are details in this case that continue to perplex. For example, why was a rag stuffed into Maura's car's tailpipe? Her father claimed he had instructed her to do this to prevent smoke from leaking, but others believe it could indicate foul play. And what about the mysterious caller who contacted Maura days before she disappeared? Police have never disclosed the identity of this individual. There's also the unsettling fact that Maura's disappearance is not unique. Over the years, several people have vanished under strange circumstances in this region of New Hampshire, leading some to speculate about the presence of a serial predator. Maura's disappearance has left a lasting impact on her family. Fred Murray has spent years conducting his own investigations, following every lead, no matter how small. He's been critical of law enforcement, accusing them of mishandling the case and failing to follow up on crucial tips. Her siblings, too, have struggled to move forward, grappling with the loss of a sister and the endless uncertainty of her fate. As the years pass, the likelihood of solving Maura's case seems to dwindle. But for her family, the hope remains alive. Someone somewhere knows what happened to Maura Murray. Until that truth comes to light, her story will continue to haunt us. A chilling reminder of how quickly a person can vanish, leaving behind only questions. If you have any information about Maura Murray's disappearance, please contact the New Hampshire Cold Case Unit. And for those following her story, share your theories in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going, because every voice matters when it comes to finding the truth. Our next story brings us to the disappearance of Brian Shaffer. Imagine going out for a night of fun, surrounded by friends, excitement in the air, and plans for a bright future ahead. For 27-year-old medical student Brian Shaffer, this night was supposed to be just that, a chance to unwind before spring break. But what started as a typical Friday night ended with one of the most perplexing disappearances of our time. Brian Shaffer walked into the Ugly Tuna Saloon but was never seen leaving. Over 17 years later, the question remains, what happened to Brian Shaffer? To understand Brian's disappearance, we first need to know who he was. Born on February 25, 1979, in Pickerington, Ohio, Brian grew up as a bright, charismatic young man. His personality was magnetic. He had a knack for making people laugh and connecting with others effortlessly. Despite being a medical student at Ohio State University, Brian's heart lay with music. He idolized Jimmy Buffett and dreamed of combining his love for medicine with a laid-back lifestyle. Brian's life wasn't without its hardships. Just weeks before his disappearance, he experienced a devastating loss. His mother, Renee, passed away after a long battle with cancer. Those close to Brian said he took her death hard, but he seemed determined to keep moving forward. His father, Randy Shaffer, and younger brother, Derek, described Brian as resilient and hopeful for the future. March 31, 2006, began like any other Friday night. Brian met his friend Clint Florence for dinner at an Outback Steakhouse. During the meal, Brian spoke to his girlfriend, Alexis Wagoner, on the phone, telling her he loved her and was excited for their upcoming trip to Miami. After dinner, Brian and Clint decided to hit the bars in Columbus's Arena District. The pair made their way to the Ugly Tuna Saloon, a popular college hangout located near campus. Around midnight, they were joined by Meredith Reed, a friend of Clint's. She offered to drive them back to the Ugly Tuna after their bar-hopping adventures. The group was seen entering the bar at 1:55 a.m., captured by surveillance cameras positioned at the entrance. Inside the bar, the three friends mingled, drank, and enjoyed themselves. Brian was reportedly in good spirits, showing no signs of distress. But when the bar began to close around 2 a.m., something unusual happened. Brian vanished. Clint and Meredith waited for him outside the bar, but he never appeared. Surveillance footage later confirmed that Brian had entered the bar, but there was no footage of him leaving. The Ugly Tuna Saloon had one main entrance, monitored by cameras, and an emergency exit leading to a construction site filled with debris. Investigators scoured the footage from every angle, yet there was no trace of Brian leaving the building. How could someone disappear from a place with only 2 exits? When Brian failed to return home, his family and friends grew alarmed. His girlfriend, Alexis, made repeated calls to his phone. Strangely, on one occasion, the call rang instead of going straight to voicemail, suggesting the phone was still active. However, cell tower pings failed to provide a location. The Columbus Police Department launched an extensive search. They combed through nearby construction sites, dumpsters, and waterways, but no evidence was found. Even Brian's car, parked at his apartment, was untouched. The investigation quickly hit a dead end. As the investigation stalled, theories about Brian's fate began to emerge. One theory suggests that Brian decided to leave his old life behind. Overwhelmed by the death of his mother and the pressures of medical school, could he have staged his disappearance and started anew? Another theory suggests that Brian decided to leave his old life behind. Overwhelmed by the death of his mother and the pressures of medical school, could he have staged his disappearance and started anew? This idea seems unlikely to those who knew him best. Brian had a trip planned with Alexis and showed no signs of wanting to abandon his life. Another theory posits that Brian attempted to exit through the construction area and met with a fatal accident. But extensive searches of the site revealed no signs of him. Investigators considered the possibility of foul play, theorizing that Brian might have been lured into a dangerous situation or targeted by someone in the bar. Yet, no physical evidence supports this idea. One of the most controversial aspects of the case involves Brian's friend, Clint. Early in the investigation, Clint refused to take a polygraph test and eventually stopped cooperating with police. Some have speculated that Clint may know more than he's letting on, though no evidence links him to Brian's disappearance. Alexis, on the other hand, remained deeply committed to finding Brian. She even left a voicemail on his phone every day for months, hoping he might hear it. Her dedication underscores just how baffling this case truly is. For Brian's father, Randy, the search for answers became his life's mission. Tragically, Randy passed away in 2008 after a tree fell on him during a storm. Many believe he died with a broken heart, never knowing what happened to his son. Today, Brian's brother Derek continues to keep his memory alive, urging anyone with information to come forward. Alexis, on the other hand, remained deeply committed to finding Brian. She even left a voicemail on his phone every day for months, hoping he might hear it. Her dedication underscores just how baffling this case truly is. In recent years, advancements in technology have reignited hope that Brian's case might one day be solved. From facial recognition software to new DNA testing methods, investigators and amateur sleuths alike continue to explore every possible lead. But as of now, Brian's fate remains one of the most enduring mysteries of our time. Brian Shaffer's story is a haunting reminder of how quickly someone can vanish. Was it foul play, an accident, or something else entirely? Until new evidence comes to light, we may never know. But one thing is certain: Brian Shaffer's disappearance will continue to captivate and confound for years to come. If you have any information about Brian Shaffer's disappearance, no matter how small, please contact the Columbus Police Department and let us know your theories in the comments. Could Brian still be out there? Or is the truth hidden somewhere closer to home? In March of 2000, a young woman from North Carolina vanished without a trace. Her name was Leah Roberts, and her case remains one of the most perplexing disappearances of the 21st century. But what happened to Leah? Was it a spontaneous escape from reality, or something far more sinister? This is the story of Leah Roberts, a woman who embarked on a journey, only to vanish into thin air, leaving behind nothing but questions. Leah Roberts was a 23-year-old college student studying at North Carolina State University. She had a passion for literature, particularly the works of Jack Kerouac, whose books about adventure, freedom, and self-discovery shaped her worldview. But Leah's life was marked by loss. She lost her mother to heart disease when she was just 20, and a near-fatal car accident followed soon after. These tragedies pushed Leah to rethink her life, urging her to embrace freedom and take risks. On March 9, 2000, Leah left her Durham, North Carolina home without a word to her roommate, Kara. She left behind a note that read, "I'm not suicidal. I'm the opposite. Remember Jack Kerouac." The note was cryptic, but it made it clear that Leah was going on a journey. She withdrew several $1,000s from her bank account, packed her things, and took her cats. It seemed like she was leaving for good. But where was she going? Leah's journey took her westward, and her route can be traced through bank records, eyewitness reports, and phone calls. She made stops in Tennessee, Texas, and Oregon, eventually ending up in Washington State, a place she had always dreamed of visiting, inspired by Kerouac's tales of the Pacific Northwest. Leah's destination? A wilderness, a place of quiet reflection and escape. On March 18, 2000, just 9 days after Leah was last seen, a group of joggers stumbled upon her wrecked Jeep Cherokee. It had crashed into a steep embankment along a remote stretch of the Mount Baker Highway in Washington State. But here's where things take a strange turn. There was no sign of Leah. No blood, no body, and no footprints leading away from the car. Only her personal items were found inside. Her passport, clothes, and even a blanket covering the windows. Everything seemed out of place, as if someone had been camping out there. The discovery of the wrecked Jeep left investigators with more questions than answers. Was Leah trying to disappear voluntarily? Was it a tragic accident? Or was something darker at play? Let's explore some of the possible theories. One theory is that Leah, inspired by Kerouac's Wanderlust, intentionally vanished. The note she left behind suggested that she wasn't depressed, but rather seeking freedom. Leah's love for adventure, her difficult past, and her desire to escape might have led her to intentionally disappear. But this theory doesn't sit well with her family. Her sister, Kara, says Leah would never abandon her cats, who were also missing from the car. Another possibility is that Leah wandered off into the wilderness and died from exposure. The area surrounding the crash site is known for its treacherous terrain. Search teams scoured the woods, but no trace of Leah was ever found. Was she simply lost in the woods? Or was she running from something? The most chilling theory is that Leah was a victim of foul play. Could someone have been waiting for her at the crash site? The strange circumstances surrounding the Jeep, the missing cats, and Leah's personal items left behind suggest the possibility of an abduction. But without any evidence of a struggle or other clues, investigators were left with little to go on. Leah's case remains a mystery to this day. There are so many unanswered questions. Why was her wallet left behind with cash? Why were her cats missing? And why was the car left in such an unusual state? Over the years, her family has never stopped searching for her, and her disappearance has drawn the attention of amateur sleuths and investigators alike. Leah's disappearance has taken an emotional toll on her family. Her sister, Kara, has worked tirelessly to keep Leah's case in the public eye, participating in interviews and campaigns to raise awareness. The pain of not knowing what happened to Leah is a wound that never heals. Leah Roberts' disappearance remains one of the most haunting and unexplained cases of the 21st century. Was it a conscious decision to leave behind everything she knew? Or did something darker take place on that lonely stretch of highway? As of now, Leah's fate is unknown, but her story continues to captivate and perplex, leaving us all asking the same question. What really happened to Leah Roberts? Leah's family and loved ones continue to search for answers. If you have any information about her disappearance, please reach out to the authorities. What do you think happened to Leah? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to help keep Leah's story alive.